Here we go. Top right, the Freak of Freaks. It's Trap. In the bottom left side, his opponent for today. It's the blue Protoss player. Back on the scene, Alpha Axis. Classic. And off they go. We'll see whether or not Alpha X can bring victory to their game here. Take a look. Luckily we have the brackets already linked in the chat, so if you're curious like me as to all the other matchups that are yet to come, stuff like this, right? Definitely go check that out as well. Looks like this is indeed the first match for both these teams. Alpha X still has to go up against Team NV afterwards, as well as Team Liquid on the 17th. So, some heavy-duty teams for sure. But to be fair, right now, most of these teams seem pretty severe in strength, don't they? Kaisi Gaming, Team NV, Freak of Freaks, Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Let's take a look. Shopify Rebellion is still there, of course. GGG, never to scoff at. Team Liquid. And then we have the other teams that could also be a bit of a threat here and there. Definitely dropping some maps against them. Definitely something that I kind of suspect against, you know, teams like Team GP, Sidestorm Gaming, Prep Esports, even Invictus Gaming, Alpha X. Right, the guys that you don't necessarily are your first picks to win the tournaments. Still definitely teams that you have to be careful of. They can make upsets happen. We've seen them do it before. And if those upsets keep happening, perhaps, you know, eventually it's gonna... the cookie's gonna crumble on the other side of the table. Not sure if that sentence was ever meant to be uttered in such a way, but I think people understand what I kind of imply with it, right? Hopefully a thing that could happen here for Alpha X. Let's take a look at this game. We have some diverging paths taking place. It's an interesting map actually, Giganotha, but then the Winter Edition. I've not seen this myself yet, but it looks very fancy, I have to say. Very cool kind of atmosphere here. It does immediately just feel like an entirely new map. For a moment I thought, oh, I'm gonna have to learn this layout right now, but it is just Giganotha, so pretty cool stuff. Alright, Twilight Council coming in here for Trap, as we have Classic a little bit earlier with his Stargate play. So Trap most likely gonna try to exert some defensive control with a Blink play, as we will have Classic coming in with an Oracle. Trying to be a bit more aggressive, although we see Trap actually, I'm not quite sure how many gateways he's on. That's a good amount of Stalkers right here. It is full. They will engage the Stalkers of Trap a little bit earlier than they would have liked to. Trap trying to micro his units here correctly. Ooh, not really been able to take that fight the way he would have liked to. And I think he just trades down with an entire Stalker behind the efficiency of trading of Trap there. Just loses an entire Stalker extra in comparison. 3-2, and that is rough, especially because he already spent some extra money as well into that Oracle, right? So he already has less Stalkers, or should have less Stalkers. There's one Stalker here, definitely trying to keep the other Stalker out of combat for as long as possible. Trap won't let him escape though, definitely wants to ensure getting that kill. You know, shields being regenerated overall. Alright. Shield batteries now on the high ground ramp. Definitely in a bit of trouble, Classic here. Trap is going to be allowed to just get away with this. But looks like these Oracles will have something to say about it. 7 kills so far. That is a tremendous amount. Attacking the Stark here for a little bit, that is a bit of a waste. He definitely could have had more kills on those Oracles. You can see Trap already a little bit shaking his head right there, realizing, oh boy, this is pretty bad. Classic definitely making a play right there. That's getting Trap to perhaps be a bit disturbed with how this match is going. I don't agree with it. I mean, I don't disagree with him. Those oracles definitely paying for themselves, definitely making that worth it. And Classic, a wise choice to bunker up in his main base after that economic damage. Sure, Trap, you go ahead, take another Nexus. Because my economy is probably still gonna be quite a bit better than yours for a while. Coming back around with these two oracles. May still have more in store. Of course, Trap, if he wants to keep his probe line secure, he's gonna have to start warping in these Stalkers back at his own base, and that's gonna elevate pressure from the front line here for Classic. Classic, let's see how the target fire on his probes is. Does get 3 more. 3 more when there's only 20 out on the field. That is a good amount. So, here we go. Trap still holding on to this contain. I would imagine he is looking to try and take a Nexus pretty soon. Seeing that mineral count kind of slowly starting to stockpile up. Just remaking probes, of course, one of the essential things he has to do right now. Classic making a move down the ramp. He's going to be able to maneuver himself past the force field. He wants some shield battery energy as well that he could try and transfer some low HP Stalkers towards. Doesn't quite need it. He's going to be able to push this Stalker force backwards. Doesn't have to blink to fully give chase, but that's a good fight for him. I'll lose the Wild Prism now. That could still be a bit of trouble that you're not quite ready for. He doesn't have a blink upgrade, but he is quite good with the micro on that War Prism. A lot of low HP Stalkers still hanging on. See the Oracle making a little status trap. Oh, that is going to be set off. That is abysmal. I'm not quite sure if Trap quite paying attention there. Maybe just sending the probes in, thinking he would be able to get a good attacking rate going. Looking away for a second and realizing too late that, oh, wait a moment, this is not working. There we go. GG is called. Classic takes the first map right off the gate. A good start for Alpha X. A very good way to open up this series, and definitely an opening that a lot of Alpha X's are going to be quite happy with. And there he is, the Alpha Xer himself, Mr. Classic, bringing victory to the Dragons in that first round. Very good stuff. Quantify your efforts there in a reasonable way. Anyway, top right side, the player already one win in his name. Classic, representing Alpha X. Bottom left side, the Red Brodels of Afrika Freaks. Trap. Overgrowth, of course, a map from a while back. It has been a while. I assume it's been actually a couple of years, probably. It's still quite a familiar map. Right, it's one of these maps that was just around for a very long time because it just felt like a good map. You have those expansions in the middle, a little bit more exposed. You have the expansions in the middle as well, on the high ground that are feeling a bit more secure. Yeah, you get a good sense of how this map can be split up. And then suddenly those expansions in the middle are going to be places of contention where you're not quite sure whether or not you're going to be able to hold on to them. And deny the opposite expansion as well from your opponent at the same time. And as the mirror matchup, of course, it's very difficult to have these situations where it's okay for one race to, or for one player to have just an extra base, right? ZVT, ZVP comes to mind in particular, where it's alright if the Zerg just has more money and stuff, because this stuff is just a little bit less cost efficient, right? The Zerglings, I guess the Banelings, they are quite cost efficient if they make their hits, but Roaches, a lot of quick units that are very sacrificial in a way. You guys know what I mean. You've watched StarCraft before. Trap with a little pylon block onto Classic's main ramp. We'll be able to see what's coming out of those gateways. It's going to be the two Stalkers, unless if they wait path backwards, but they actually do. Okay, so he didn't get to see. And he cancelled the pylon. Alright. Did still want to get that money backwards, but doesn't quite know what has been created. As it owns two Stalkers in the middle of the map already. The advantage of just being a little bit quicker with the wait path of that gateway actually going outside rather than inside. As Classic attempts a second base. Trap going for the robotics facility instead. And still producing quite a few Stalkers. Another gateway being added into the mix as well. 3-gate Robo will be hitting the front door of Classic. Is he going to be ready for this? We're seeing a lot of sentries being morphed. Will require the help of those, of course. A couple of good force fields might be able to hold off the onslaught here. And this is a really good start, actually. If Classic manages to get both these Stalkers, that is an enormous amount of minerals. Just not going to be able to hit the front door. Shield battery here does get annihilated, unfortunately. Oh, and Classic gets his own Stalker stuck. Does it get taken out? No, it doesn't. Will remain alive. Classic has to make the choice whether or not he's going to try to keep this Nexus up. He's going to cancel it here. Not feeling too lucky. Will be making a robo facility of his own, and in a way just kind of accepts that he's behind right now, in a sense. They lose two Stalkers here as well. Somehow, some way, sneaking his way past. But there's still a lot of Stalkers there in the middle of the map, if my eyes aren't deceiving me. Yeah, probably not going to get those back in time. Oh, this is bad. Classic not having as much fortune as he did the previous time. Right there, it looks like an F2 move as well, perhaps. Not the cleanest stuff happening right now. It does have the shield battery, but the shield battery can only do so much with the help of one Stalker. Ropes being pulled as well. More Stalkers are showing up for Classic, but even more Stalkers are showing up for Trap. Looks like that is the end of that game. Game number 2 going to Trap, keeping things exciting as both players manage to acquire 1 point on the scoreboard for their respective teams, meaning it's going to come down to these other 4 players to see whether or not they can set themselves apart